Hey everybody, welcome back. So I'm doing now the next one in my top 10 favorite movies of each letter. Today, the letter G. And once again, this one actually proved to be a little bit more difficult than I was expecting it to be. And I still feel like I am forgetting so many movies. So first up is The Gate. One of those ones I saw as a kid that I absolutely sort of like loved, and I would watch it like over and over and over again. And I still do even to this day. You know, those little minions in The Gate. You know, and I think so many elements of it, I don't want to say I can relate to, you know, and never rose demons that I'm aware of by playing anything backwards. But there's something kind of special about that film, and like I don't even know if I can actually put my finger on it specifically. A friend of mine also had it on his list, and it's like, yeah, this is something really special. I think especially if you grew up on it like we did. Next up is Lucio Fulci's City of the Living Dead, but I'm using it in G because I actually much prefer the English title of The Gates of Hell. Now, while Zombie and The Beyond are my two favorite Fulci films, this one is definitely a very, very, very close third. And even though I didn't see the film until a little bit later, it was still one of those VHS boxes that as a kid, I would obsess over when I'd go to the store and just stare at that cover. And as some of you noticed, I do actually have a framed one in this room. And I think it's also one of the ones that has all the elements that for me is what makes Lucio Fulci so unique as a filmmaker. Next up is one I'm sure probably a lot of you would have on your list as well, and that is Ivan Reitman's Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is awesome. I mean, what else can I say about it? You know, how many of us have watched it like a million times? So that one was definitely easy. So let's move on. Next up is one that I think a lot of other people I think do love it as well, maybe not as much as I do, and that is Ghoulies. I really love Ghoulies. It's another one that I saw as a kid and just fell in love with and watched it like a million times. And I even have the poster, which I really actually want to get framed and put it in my bathroom. Not my main bathroom with the shower, but the other bathroom. But I think it would be hilarious to actually have that poster in the bathroom, especially when guests come over. Oh yeah. Next is Ridley Scott's Gladiator. One that some of you may be surprised by, but I actually really, really love Gladiator, and it was one that I obsessed over when I first saw it. And it actually, aspects of it really inspired other projects that I went on to work on. What I love about it is that it's so epic, and yet it's really kind of a simple story and very personal. And it's also a revenge story, which I'm a sucker for. I just think it's really incredible. Next up is Glengarry Glen Ross, a film I have watched so many times and obsessed over, and another one this one I actually did do in an acting class. I know a lot of people talk about the Alec Baldwin scene in the film, which is amazing, but it was actually written for the film, it's not in the original play. But the scene where Ricky Roma, Al Pacino's character, erupts and goes after Kevin Spacey's character and just tears him a new one. I did that speech in an acting class. For those of you who have been watching my channel for a while, you can usually tell I'm pretty much a very positive person, very kind of laid back. So if you see that speech, like seeing me erupt like that, that's how the rest of the class like the look on their face, like their jaws were hitting the floor. I think that's why I always got props for my acting, because I was like so opposite of the way I really am, which is good, which I think is also why I used to get a lot of compliments on my acting. This next one is super obvious because it's one of my top 3 favorite films, and that is Francis Ford Coppola's The Godfather. It's one of my favorite films. It's going to be on the list. I mean, it's to me, it's a perfect film. So yeah, that was an easy one. Next one is kind of going to fall under the Friday the 13th one, where I'm actually going to name one, but it kind of really sort of fits sort of a group. And that is Godzilla. Say the original Godzilla, there's really so many Godzilla films that I just love and adore. Because again, I think like some of you, I grew up watching them on like TV as a kid and, you know, and stuff. And then you rewatch them as you get older. You know, Godzilla for a lot of us has a very special place. For me, it's no different. So I'm going to use that one actually as the representation of my love of Godzilla. Next up is Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas, another one that is very influential on me. And even though Taxi Driver is actually my favorite Scorsese film, I've probably watched Goodfellas a lot more. And I also think it's so funny and entertaining. and tragic. You know, it just works on so many levels. In fact, I haven't watched Goodfellas in a little bit. I'm gonna watch that soon. Fall in love with it all over again. And then finally is Joe Dante's Gremlins, another one I'm sure a lot of us all love. There is kind of something really special about Gremlins, again, especially if you grew up on it. Obviously, that seems to be an ongoing theme. A lot of films I discovered when I was younger, and Gremlins is no different. You know, again, especially when you're getting into horror films and stuff, and you know, there are films that your parents are a little bit easier about you watching, even if they're not fully aware of all the elements in it. So Gremlins was definitely one of them, because it's, you know, pretty dark. So yeah, so Gremlins finishes off the list of the G. So definitely let me know your 10. I'm sure I'm forgetting a ton for the letter G. And keep an eye out for the next one, which will obviously be the letter H. Some good ones in that. Another one I need to go and finalize. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.